Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys,
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good.
So far, I'm good. How
Okay,
about you? Good.
I'm good. So today I will be a moderator. My name is Muhammad Azka Rivaldi and my student's number is 192122049. So wait, I will share screen first. So I have a video that the title is The Spread of English. And this video provided by Professor Jürgen Hank. He is a German professor of English linguistics. He opened the speech with mention four topics, which will be discussed. The first is the periods of English. The second is towards a global language. The third is the three circles. And the last is English as a global language. Professor Jürgen Hank explain brief historical the spread of English, like the period of English such as Old English, Middle English, early modern English. At the era of Elizabeth I in 1603, the first significant step in the progress of English towards its status as a global language did not take place. He also conveyed the literature had boomed through the works of Spencer, Matthew, and in particular Shakespeare and Francis Drake. He mentioned about the spread of English around the world can be divided in terms of three concentric circles, according to the Indian linguistics branch culture. And the first circle is the inner circle and the expanding circle. He also confused about English as a global language. And last, he closed the speech by saying, today English constitutes the most widely used language of our time, from a regional language that was by and large influence by many other languages. It has developed to the world number one communication system. If you wish, a global lingua franca, and the influence on the other language is omnipresent. So it's enough. Maybe who's is will be the next.
I try.
Okay, okay, Bimo. Wait, I will share your note first. Okay, Bimo. Time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So first of all, I want to thank you to Azka for the chance and for probably sharing my task, I guess. So I watched a video that has a title "How English Became a Global Language" by Jeff Roy. Who is Jeff Roy? Jeff Roy is an ESL teacher and a YouTuber that teaches English to all of his subscribers. Actually, it's pretty hard to search who he is because he is not too exposed on social media nor some college websites. So I already searched him in Google and I found nothing. First, I opened the speech with a question like, how did the language spoken by 4 million people on an island in the north of Europe become a global language in less than 400 years? So, for those who doesn't know, it reference for English languages, for English language that became a global language. Then he explains the answer briefly. He explains about how English became a global language, how English conquer the entire world by, you know, what is it? Uh, conquer the world, and he explains it after the question. And the content of this video is about what does it take for a language to become global, what happened afterwards, and what provoked the explosion of this language to become a lingua franca. So what does it take for a language to become global? It actually, he has two answers. First is the simple one, and the second is a pretty complex one. The simple one, he said that, like what Aska said before, it's about the first Queen Elizabeth, and so on and so on. And the complex one is because England had conquered the world. England had, he said, Jeffroy said that England had a pretty much big influence in this world. And then what provoked the explosion of this language to become lingua franca? It actually has a bridge to the closing. So he closes the speech with things that affect afterwards, like industrial revolution, international commerce, USSR collapse, and the main attraction of popular culture. Industrial revolution. I bet all of you guys already knew about what industrial revolution is. And international commerce, like we, uh, even our country is already have a debt to England, right? So the next is USSR collapse. It actually refers to a country like Russia, like Russia, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and some Eastern other country. And the last is the main attraction of popular culture. This is that related into our what is it? Our social life. Like we every day we open our cell phone and all we see is just popular culture. I guess that's all for me. Thank you. Back to you, Aska.
Okay, thank you, Bimo. That is interesting how English became a global language and how many the things that affects of it. Okay, who will be the next presenter?
Can I
Okay,
be
Dinda.
the
Wait,
okay?
I
Yeah.
will share your note. Have you see the
Yeah.
screen, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So time is yours, Dinda.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Aska, for the change. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dinda Janova. Yep. So, based on our today's topic about English as a lingua franca, so I found and watched the video from YouTube. The title is "Why Did English Become the International Language?" So, the name of the speaker is Paul. So he is a passionate language enthusiast, and he has been a world traveler, language learner, and teacher for over 20 years. So I think his credibility can be guaranteed. So how he opens the speech? Yep, he opened his speech by directly discussing the topic he was talking about, the reason why did English become the international language. So yeah, if we talk about lingua franca or English as a lingua franca or global language, surely, of course, we will discuss its history. Why English become a lingua franca? Why English become the international language, right? So the content of his speech is about the history, why English become the international language. So he said that English is the de facto global lingua franca, and English is the language of global commerce, the main language of international diplomacy, the language of air traffic control, and the majority of academic journal. And then English also become the language of internet, right? Because when we open Google or Chrome, that language that appear surely is English, right? And then in his video, he also explained the early history of why English could become the lingua franca. But he explained very long, but in this what's that? In this discussion, I only give a brief explanation. Okay, so the reason why English reached this kind of status because the U.S. United States of America's role as a global superpower. So in the 16th century, England started to establish overseas colonies, and by the end of the 18th century, the British Empire had grown quite extensive with colonies in a few parts of India and Africa, in the Caribbean, Canada, and what was to become the United States. And then in 1922, the British Empire covered almost a quarter of the earth and about half of the world's population. So that's the reason why English became a global language. And then some of these countries become populated by English settlers, and these are the countries where English became the dominant language, replacing many others. But in other hand, in some of these countries, English did not become the single dominant language, but become a prestige language and a companion lingua franca that could facilitate communication between linguistically diverse population. So yeah, by the time of the First World War, the US had become a strong economic power, and then its role in the war increased its political influence in Europe. So yeah, and then today, over 1960% of scientific articles are written in English, right? Because we as an English education that often search journal article and then like that. And surely we often see that mostly of them is in English. So yeah, because I'm sorry. So yeah, English is the number one language, number one of the global language, because with English, people can communicate with each other without confused, without what's that? So people in our world can understand what it means, what he speak, what they speak, and else. And then he closed the speech by providing a comparison whether Mandarin will replace English as a lingua franca or not. So yeah, that's my notes. So I think it's enough. Back to you, Aska. Thank you.
Okay, Dinda, thank you. It's interesting whether Mandarin will replace English as a lingua franca or not. Okay, and the last presenter, maybe Dante. Hello, Dante.
Hello, Azka.
Okay, wait, I will share your notes.
All right. Okay, so my name is Dante Rahdian Maulana. I will explain to you about about today's material that I've got. It's simply called Lingua Franca by Lang Focus. I took this material from a YouTuber that explains a lot about education and English in general. So what is lingua franca? Lingua franca is a language that used between people who speak different native languages. So I put this into a context. There are several people from different ethnicity or different nationality that gather in one room. Uh, so they want to understand each other and they want to speak with each other. So they use English as their main tool for communication. English also is a global lingua franca right now, but it could be changed because China is on its way to be a global superpowers, uh, joining with the US and the UK, also Russian. So it could be in the near future, it could be China that becoming a lingua franca, but at its stance right now, it seems English uh, still the main lingua franca for the entire world. Um, there are various lingua franca that are available in the world, such as the kinds of lingua franca, such as the national lingua franca. For example, we are Indonesian, so we talk a lot of different languages like Sunda or okay, Azka, you okay? Let's continue, okay? Like Sunda or Jawa or Betawi, you name it. And if we can't understand each other, we use we use Bahasa Indonesia as our main languages, so we can understand each other. And in the other continents, like Africa, they use French as their national lingua franca, because there are so many languages in Africa, like in Indonesia right now. Uh, if you want to speak to someone from different region in your country, use your local lingua franca like Bahasa Indonesia. And when you want to understand and want to speak internationally, uh, you should use English as your main language. So it seems that the language helps you to communicate with each other, and which the person that you like to understand. Uh, I think that's enough for me. Back to you, Azka. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dante. Now we are going to discuss about the I think the topic is the lingua franca. So uh, who will be open the discussion?
So can I open this discussion?
Oh, okay, Dinda.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the longer I know English, so the more interesting it is. Especially and today in our today's topic is about lingua franca is bring us to the early history of English as why English become a lingua franca. So it's so interesting. So because the time is not enough, so I will open this discussion with one question. So what do you think about Mandarin? Is it can replace English as a global language? So what do you think about it? So yeah. Aryobimo, what do you think?
Come again, Dindos. I can't really hear your voice clearly.
Okay, so I will open this discussion only with one question because the time is not enough. So, what do you think about Mandarin, which is a Chinese language of Chinese, right? Because today Mandarin is what is that? Like uh, as known in part of the world. So, what do you think about Mandarin? Is it can replace English as a global language? So, what do you
Okay.
think?
Okay. Thank you for the chance,
Okay.
Dinda. So, uh, I think Mandarin could slightly replace English, but I don't think it could replace English like the whole English as a lingua franca, because of what? Because of Mandarin. I studied Mandarin back in high school before. I studied Mandarin for like 3 years, and I learned nothing because it's too hard. It's too hard for us, for I don't know, maybe an infant or a babies. I can't imagine like if a babies or an infant study or learn English, they just can do it without like without a private course or something. like they already got it from themselves or from their parents or from TV or anything like that. But Mandarin, it's a different level because it's too hard for me. I think Mandarin could slightly replace because Mandarin is already second biggest language in the whole world, but it could not replace the whole English as lingua franca. I think that's my answer. Thank you before Dinda.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So I think same with you that I also think that Mandarin maybe can replace, but it's not a whole of can replace the whole language of the world. I mean that uh yeah, people in Chinese use Mandarin in uh or uh become Mandarin in their own country. Yeah, although Mandarin has the become the second the biggest language there, but I think it's not can replace English as a global language because the role of English, the role of U.S., British, it's not be replaced by Chinese. So I think it's like that. So what do you think, guys? Aska or Dante? So what do you think?
Yes. Personally, I asked this question last semester to Mr. Nanap, Dinda.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
and he said it could be replaced, but the
Mm-mm.
transition is hard.
Mm,
As we know, the English language has been around since, I don't know, back in World War I, or
yeah.
yeah, because the colonization of the language is very influenced to a
Mm,
third world country. S- So the transition, it could take time, maybe 100 years or
yeah.
50 years. Um,
Mm,
yeah, it cannot replace a whole English as it cannot replace English as lingua franca. Uh, I mean, it can, but it's
yeah.
not easy. The transition is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's my
I
opinion.
know you.
Yeah.
You mean yeah. So
Thank
you
you.
mean that yeah it cannot replace easily, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's what I mean.
okay. So yeah, Aska. So what do you think?
Okay, to be a lingua franca, there are so many aspects. Yeah, like the historical of this language or the social culture and many other. So I think Mandarin language maybe can be lingua franca, but it takes a
Long time.
long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can conclude that we all uh, agree that Mandarin maybe can replace, but uh, it need a long time, and then the transition is so hard, right? And then it cannot replace English as a global language easily, right? So yeah, we all we agree with that. So maybe Oscar, you can close this discussion.
Okay, thank you for you all guys for share your notes and discuss about the lingua franca and okay, so I close this. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank
wabarakatuh.
you, everyone.
Thank
Good job.
you.